Good evening, everyone. We are Team 3, also known as UTSA Students for Kids. Our nonprofit organization that we chose was Snap Pack for Kids. On the agenda, on the agenda, we will be discussing different topics from group diversity, team conflicts and resolutions, and we will summarize some of the lessons that we've learned. As you can see, we are a group of 6, and on the surface level of diversity, there are 3 men and 3 women from different backgrounds and cultures. We have professionals stemming from a physician and teammates with bachelor's degrees in management, information systems, and marketing. Majority of our group members were recent millennial undergraduates from UTSA and Texas A&M. We also have a team member with a proud military background. On the deep level diversity, our group were creative-minded thinkers who were not bashful if they did not agree on things. We had shared leadership roles, but a few of our members were organizers and led team meetings and made sure that the project stayed on task. We didn't have any advocates, which I felt was good. But what I found fascinating about our group was that after our first initial meeting and we began to know each other better, we built trust and valued each other's opinions. Jennifer will talk more about our group's development.
Thank you, Tammy. In the first stage,
Jennifer, you went back onto mute.
Thank you, Tammy. In the first stage, which is the forming stage, our group initially met via Zoom and started to get to know one another. A formal first meeting was established where we established roles and responsibilities and expectations going forward. We selected our organization, a Snack Pack for Kids, and developed a plan going forward to succeed. There was a 3-week delay in communication from Snack Pack.
You went back onto mute, Jennifer.
Sorry, phase. The lack of communication from Snack Pack for Kids led to the next phase known as storming. There was discussion to go with another organization. We had to decide as a team to move forward with a new organization or continue with Snack Pack for Kids. As a team, we went with the idea majority of the team was in favor of, which was with Snack Pack for Kids. This led to the next phase known as norming, where we began to work together as a team. We started to focus our attention on our fundraising events. We had some challenges along the way, but we started to become more competent, and this led to our final phase as performing, where we worked together as a team and focused on how we can make this successful. Now I'll pass it on to Amit, who will discuss the structure of the selected organization.
Snack Pack for Kids is a wonderful organization that started in the Texas Panhandle in 2010. Very interestingly, Snack Packs for Kids San Antonio was founded in 2012 as the sole franchise in the Snack Pack for Kids family, and it still remains the only franchise in the entire family of Snack Pack for Kids groups, which, as you can see on the map, are mainly in the Panhandle still. Currently, for Snack Pack for Kids San Antonio, there's an 11-member board of directors, which includes the founder, and that person also functions as the primary CEO. There's also an executive director and 3 part-time employees that function as operations coordinators, data coordinators, and social media managers. Ultimately, more than 51 school districts across Texas are served, and many of those are here in San Antonio. They really do have a centralized structure with minimal formalized processes. Because they have such a small group of employees, they're able to work together as a team and not have too much formalized going on. The enthusiastic support that Snack Pack for Kids San Antonio showed for our project really began after they began communicating with us. And from that point on, it was very good communication between the 2 groups. I'll now turn it over to another one of my teammates.
Hello. So I'm going to be talking about communicating the event and influencing people to donate. When we started figuring out how we wanted to communicate this, we immediately figured that social media would be a great way to promote the fundraisers that we held. Um, a few of the group members created social media posts and shared them on different platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and others. Um, and through those, we were able to communicate not only the event, but also the mission statement of Snack Pack for Kids. Um, through these events, we did not meet our goals, unfortunately, but we were able to raise awareness on the organization itself. And now I'm going to hand it over to my next partner.
Tammy, you're on mute.
Thank you. All righty, I'll be discussing decision-making and traps and biases. Usually there's a challenge with working in groups, whether it's diverse or non-diverse, and there will be disagreements on decisions. Our group avoided decision-making traps and biases by having a shared leadership role. We chose our specific roles based on our levels of skill set. We used group me voting polls. We voted on our organization, our team name, and our group's memos to avoid traps of decision-making. Every voice was heard, every vote mattered, and every vote counted. We were united for the bigger goal of completing the project, but we avoided groupthink. Although we were not a perfect group, and we did have a healthy conflict, that Amit will discuss further.
So I'll be discussing the team goal setting and motivation. So our team goals stem from SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. We initially set our goal at $250 given the time that we had. We did not want to set our expectations too high. We then received feedback from our first memo that our fundraising goal was a bit too low. So as a team, we discussed a new fundraising goal. One member suggested 500, and another member suggested 1,000. We wanted to be challenged, and we expected a lot of donations. We ended up setting our goal at $750 through a group vote. We were motivated to succeed, as the expectancy theory argues. Unfortunately, fundraising became more challenging than we anticipated, and our efforts were not enough to meet our fundraising goal. I will now pass it on to conflict and resolution.
As Tammy mentioned, all of our group members felt empowered by our shared leadership. And so that did lead to a lot of healthy conflict between our group members when we debated about various ways in which to take our team and our project. For example, as Jennifer just discussed, that was very healthy conflict that we had discussing the target level for minimum contribution. However, there was one phase of unhealthy conflict that our group had, and it was when we were having difficulty communicating with Snack Pack for Kids San Antonio. At that time, we did begin as a team intentionally reaching out to other charities to potentially help them. And one of our members was stuck in the middle of having reached out to another charity, and then we had to back away from assisting them because we did wind up as a group deciding to go forward with Snack Pack for Kids. There was some contentiousness between our group members because of that, but ultimately we had really good intra-group communication around this, and we communicated well with the other charity and moved forward resolving the conflict that we had. Now I'll turn it back over to one of my teammates.
For our decision making as a team, when it was time to make a decision as a group, we made sure to follow a rational decision making process that included both a majority rule technique and a consensus decision making technique. So when we first came together and brainstormed potential solutions for for our consensus technique, this allowed us to collaborate with one another and sort of consolidate our ideas in order to create higher quality solutions. We would then follow a majority rule technique and put the solutions to a vote. And this entire process contributed to our rational decision-making process, in which each alternative was discussed in depth in order to maximize our outcome as a group, and that a solution was chosen by the majority of the group. And next, I'll be talking about our sources of power and influence in our group. So when we first established the roles that each of us would have throughout the course of the project, we each then inherited a source of power or our legitimate power based on the roles that were assigned to us. And when we first created these roles, we made sure to take into account both previous experience and certain skills that would be beneficial throughout the project. In addition to our legitimate power, some of us had some certain expert power that stemmed from previous experiences that would help with the project. So for example, some members of the group had more experience with coordinating different fundraising events due to previous experiences with organizations, clubs, etc. And so these members had more expert power and were able to directly influence the success of the project. And then next, I'll turn it over to Robert.
We're going to move on to the next slide, talking about leadership styles that we progressed throughout the group. Right. So as a group, we all aligned on we both had both task-oriented and people-oriented behavior styles. Right. Just some quick feedback on both. Task-oriented behaviors are basically directives given to employees to get things done and to ensure that organizational goals are being met. Right. After that, people-oriented behaviors, they actually included showing concern for both employee feelings and treating employees with respect, right? So taking these two leadership styles into consideration as we progressed, just throughout the entire fundraiser and project itself, we felt that both of us, the group, along with all of the group members, had both what's called behavior styles, right? But having both behavior styles, we were able to accomplish the set goals we had on a weekly basis and align on all the tasks that needed to be done. So as we move on to the next slide, just kind of piggybacking off of leadership styles, we're going to talk about the negotiation methods that were, introduced from start to finish as we took on this fundraiser for Snack Pack for Kids, right? So again, just some quick feedback. We decided to take the distributive approach, right? It's more of a traditional fixed pie method in which negotiators see the situation as a pie that they have to divide between them, right? So based on the roles that we took on at the beginning of just the introduction itself, we thought that the distributive approach compared to the integrative approach would be the most practical and feasible one, just to ensure all the work would be divided equally and all contribution standards were being met, right? So as far as both of our fundraising events, we created a BATNA for each fundraiser event, only in case, they did not perform successfully. We just chose to contribute personal funds in order to achieve our set goal. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to the next teammate to talk about just some lessons learned in the summary. We're going to move on to the next slide, talking about leadership.
Okay, so in the end, we were able to collaborate with each other and figure out how to come up with this whole project in general. We did face a lot of difficulties in our fundraisers. That's one of our biggest challenges that we faced. But we were still able to not give up. And, even after our first fundraiser that was not successful, we attempted to do another one. But the next time if we were to do something different, I believe that we should have been a little more aggressive with promoting the fundraiser. And I think that setting a more realistic goal would have been better, especially since Snack Pack for Kids is not a well-known organization. I think that spreading the awareness of it would have been more successful for raising funds. But in the end, we were still able to raise funds and spread some awareness on Snack Pack for Kids. Is there any questions?